To my video on simple interest. So, what is interest? Interest is the amount earned or paid for the use of money. Principal is the amount of money deposited or invested. Simple interest is when money is earned or paid only on the principal. And then an annual interest rate is the percent of the principal earned or paid per year. Okay, so the formula for calculating interest is I equals P, which is principal, times rate as a decimal, and then time in years. So if the time is not in years, we have to convert it, the months, to years. So let's look at some examples. Number one, the principal is $175. The rate is 5%, so we need to change that to a decimal by moving it 2 to the left. So it's 0.05. And then the time is 2 years. So the first step is to write the formula. I equals principal times rate times time. And now we're going to plug in the numbers. The principal is $175. The rate is 500, and the time is 2 years. Now we're going to multiply that together, and the answer is $17.50. So the amount of interest that would be earned or paid on that amount over that amount of time would be $17.50. So circle your answer. And that's it. Number two, the principal is $550. The rate is 4.5%, so we're going to change it to a decimal by moving it 2 to the left. So 0.045, and the time is 3 years. So first step, write the formula. I equals principal times rate times time. Now we're going to plug in the numbers. The principal is $550. The rate as a decimal is 0.045, and the time is 3 years. When I multiply that together, I get $74.25. Okay, now let's look at some word problems. So number 3 says find the simple interest rate for a CD for a $1,000 investment. Okay, and a CD is just a way to invest your money. The 6.2%, so we got to change that to a decimal, over 9 months. Now, remember, time is in years, so if I give you months, then we've got to convert that to years. So there are 12 months in a year, so this would be 9/12. Or if you wanted to, you could change it to a decimal and it would be 0.75. Okay, so write the formula. I equals principal times rate times time. The investment or principal is $1,000. The rate as a decimal is 0.062. And the time is 9/12. Now, when I multiply this, I can just multiply these together and do times 9 divided by 12 and hit equals at the end. Because sometimes it might end up repeating, so you wouldn't necessarily be able to change it to a decimal because you don't want to round it. This one actually works nice because it'd be 0.75, so you could for this one. But if it was 8/12 or 4/12 or 2/12, something like that, then you would just have to do times 2 divided by 12. Okay, so the interest here is $46.50. So let's turn it to the back. And this one is a bit of a challenge, so we need to make sure we read this carefully and understand what it's asking for. So Ashley borrowed $4,500 from her bank for home improvements, so that's going to be our principal. She will repay the loan by paying $120 per month for the next 4 years. Find the simple interest rate of the loan. Okay, so this one, what we have to do first is we have to figure out how much they're going to pay with the interest and then subtract that from the amount borrowed. And that will give us the amount of interest that was collected, because we need to find, we have everything except for the rate. So if it's $120 per month for the next 4 years, then I've got to multiply that by how many months there are in 4 years. And if there's 12 months in 1 year, then in 4 months there's 48 months. So I would do 120 times 48, and that's going to give me $5,760. Okay, so that's how much was paid with the interest. Okay, and then I have to subtract the amount borrowed, which is $4,500, and this tells me how much interest was earned, so $1,260. Now I can use the formula I equals principal times rate times time. So I know the interest right here, and let's label this as, this is my interest. So this time I gave you the interest, and now we're finding the rate. So the principal is how much was borrowed, so $4,500, times the rate, which I don't know, and I know the time is 4 years. Now, what I'm going to do here is multiply the two numbers and then put the R after it. So 4,500 times 4 would be 18,000 times R. And then to get the R by itself, I have to divide both sides by 18,000. The 18,000s are going to cancel, and I get 0.07. Now remember, that's a decimal, so now I got to change it to a percent for the rate, so the rate is 7%. Okay, so in a situation like this where you know how much you borrowed and you're looking for the rate, you have to find the interest. And sometimes it will tell you the interest, but in this case it didn't. It told us how much we paid, Ashley paid per month over the next 4 years. So we know how much she paid total, and so we can take that away from the amount she actually borrowed to calculate the interest. Okay, let's look at number 5. Find the total dollar amount in an account where $80 is invested at 6% for 6 months. So we got to change this to a decimal. This is months, so we've got to divide the months by 12. And we got to find the total amount. So if we're doing the total, we got to find the interest and then add the interest to the amount borrowed to get the total dollar amount. So I equals principal times rate times time. The principal here is $80 times the rate is a decimal, which is 0.06, times the time, which is 6/12. Now this one, we know 6/12 is 1/2 or 0.5, so we could change that to 0.5 if we wanted to. And when we multiply that together, we get $2.40. But remember, that's just the interest. I want the total dollar amount, so the total is going to be $80 plus the $2.40, and that's going to give us a total of $82.40. Okay, that concludes our notes on simple interest. I hope you have a great day.